We are descending to the known edge of the solar system, into that freezing void where light and heat lose their meaning. This is the region of absolute darkness, billions of kilometers away from Earth, where the sun shines only like a faint, ordinary star. Neptune is the system's farthest and loneliest planet, whose existence was once proven only through mathematical calculations. This massive entity is much more than just a mass of ice and gas spinning silently within the pitch-black darkness that surrounds it. From the outside, it may look like a perfect and calm blue sphere. The source of this deep blue is the methane gas suspended in the upper layers of its atmosphere. However, that smooth appearance is an illusion hiding the flawless chaos lying beneath. While the planet's upper atmosphere is one of the coldest places in the solar system with temperatures below -200 degrees, its interior is constantly boiling with a massive self-sustaining heat. The truly terrifying face of the planet begins the moment you pass the upper layers and enter the atmosphere. In this darkest corner of space, Neptune plays host to the most violent and ruthless winds in the system. The winds blowing here reach speeds of 2,000 kilometers per hour. This means a flood of gas blowing much faster than sound, many times more powerful than even the most destructive hurricanes on Earth. These supersonic currents ruthlessly drag massive clouds of ammonia and hydrogen sulfide around the planet. From time to time, these violent currents form massive dark vortices on the planet's surface. These storms reach sizes capable of swallowing an entire planet on their own and continue to tear the atmosphere apart for months. The incredible rotational speed of the planet and that massive internal heat leaking from its depths constantly fuel these weather events. Moreover, this unstoppable hell of wind is just the outermost protective shield of the true darkness that Neptune hides. As you bypass the supersonic storms and begin descending into the planet's depths, you see that the concept of a solid surface, as we are accustomed to on Earth, completely vanishes. The increasingly dense layers of gas gradually transform into a heavy fluid, a vast and dark mass. This is a bottomless realm where light disappears entirely and atmospheric pressure begins to tighten from every direction like a vice. This multiplying hydrostatic pressure reaches a level that would crush even the most durable titanium submarines produced by humanity within seconds. Descending kilometers below, the freezing cold of the upper layers gives way to thousands of degrees of heat radiating outward from the planet's center. At this depth, the pressure is so immense that molecules cannot remain in gas form and collapse into themselves to create a dense layer of liquid. The chaos of the surface storms ceases completely here, replaced by a heavy and deafening silence created by the crushing mass. Around you remains only an endless darkness and that absolute weight pressing tons of load onto every square centimeter. In exactly this condensed and superheated layer, one of the solar system's most chemically challenging processes occurs. Extreme pressure and temperatures of thousands of degrees break the carbon bonds in methane gas, crystallizing them. These crystals merge to turn into massive diamond pieces and begin to slowly sink further toward the center within the dense liquid layer. This process, scientifically called diamond rain, is the clearest physical evidence of how the planet's gravity and pressure crush matter down to its fundamental building blocks. Following these heavy sediments even deeper, one reaches the massive supercritical fluid mantle that forms the heart of the planet. This enormous mass, consisting of water, ammonia, and methane, is neither in liquid nor gas form due to the pressure. It is a dense, electrically charged fluid carrying the properties of both simultaneously. This massive mantle, boiling at thousands of degrees with no shores, directly generates Neptune's complex and powerful magnetic field. This dark mass of fluid is an impenetrable physical wall that surrounds the planet's rocky core with absolute isolation and allows no external interference. We are returning to that desolate orbit where Neptune severs its physical ties with the rest of the system. At 4.5 billion kilometers away from the Sun, it takes more than 4 hours for even the light in the void of space to reach here. At this immense distance, that massive source of heat and light that gives life to Earth appears as only a faint and ordinary star in the pitch-black sky. In this frontier region where heat approaches absolute zero, the planet lives a perfect cosmic exile, completely isolated from the center of the system. This is a level of isolation that the human mind struggles to comprehend, in a freezing circle of loneliness that has remained unchanged for billions of years. Sharing this dark isolation is its greatest companion, Triton, which continues to orbit the planet with its own death warrant. Unlike most moons, this massive block of ice moves in the opposite direction of the planet's rotation. It is actually a Kuiper Belt object captured and held prisoner by Neptune's ruthless gravity. Dark geysers erupting liquid nitrogen on its surface show how this dead world at -235 degrees still plays host to an active nightmare. However, Triton's retrograde orbit brings it slightly closer to Neptune every second, and it awaits that absolute end where it will be torn apart and destroyed by the planet's massive gravity millions of years from now. The faint and ghostly rings surrounding the planet also drift silently as part of this dark tableau. Unlike the bright, icy, and majestic rings of Saturn, Neptune's rings consist of pitch-black dust particles scorched by radiation. These broken arcs are constantly eroded by micrometeorite impacts from deep space and are slowly fading away as they struggle to hold on to their orbit. These pale structures, which can only be noticed in the pitch darkness when the faint light of distant stars passes behind them, perfectly complete the planet's lonely and decaying atmosphere. Neptune is not just a gas giant, it is the final and darkest frontier outpost of the known solar system, opening into interstellar space. Just beyond its orbit begins the vast Kuiper Belt, consisting of billions of frozen dwarf planets and the freezing absolute void of the universe. It takes decades for even man-made spacecraft to cross this freezing border and reach the planet, and they continue their journey into that bottomless void, never to return. Neptune continues to watch the cosmic void like a sentinel, having turned its back on the relatively warm inner system it left behind, facing the infinite and ruthless pitch black of the universe. In this remote corner of space, at that dark point where light and heat almost vanish, Neptune stands alone as proof of how ruthless the concept of a planet can be. Beneath that blue and smooth exterior, it continues to exist with storms that blow faster than sound, a liquid mantle created by crushing pressure and absolute loneliness. For humanity, this is a hell of physical laws that is impossible to conquer or colonize, one that can only be watched from afar. Reaching there is not a victory, but a mandatory physical demonstration of accepting our own smallness in the face of the universe. To this day, we have passed by this freezing giant only once. That brief contact clearly showed us how even our most advanced technologies remain helpless against this massive entity. Looking back, we better understand how far we have strayed from the safe and warm inner regions of the solar system. Neptune stands as that final barricade, reminding the boundary-pushing human mind of the insurmountable walls of natural laws. That pressure and those winds are the absolute and definite guarantee that no man-made mechanism can survive there. It remains a sentinel, completely indifferent to the warmth of the inner system behind it, having turned its direction toward the infinite darkness of the universe. It alone draws that brutal line where our sun's sphere of influence ends and the rules of interstellar space begin. The moment you cross its orbit, the protective boundaries of the system end, and you enter the freezing, unforgiving sea of radiation of the universe. Neptune continues to wait with the same absolute isolation for billions of years on that violent borderline where these two different realities collide. The core truth Neptune reveals to us is that the universe was not designed for us. Those storms, that darkness, and those crushing depths are standard on a universal scale, but an absolute scenario of destruction on a human scale. As we leave this final and darkest front of the solar system, we see once again the fragility of our own safe world in the cosmic ocean. As we emerge from this freezing darkness beyond the border and turn our course toward a new destination, we will continue to face the overwhelming and indifferent reality of the universe. Stay tuned to Galactic Edge.